I thought it'd be useful to spend some time looking at the settings pane because it reveals quite a few of the features of Overlord. So it normally opens to the CLI and local agent settings because that's the one you use the most. But let's start at the top. So first of all, you can select which local terminal you're using. I usually use CMUX or iTerm2. And then you can set a custom hotkey. In my case, I like when the terminal opens new panes horizontally. So you can set a hotkey that it triggers every time it opens the terminal for you. So when you run the agent, it opens the terminal, runs the hotkey, and then starts running. And so there's that. I'm in the process of developing a system for running jobs over SSH on a server as opposed to locally. So there's settings for that here. And then for the file links, you can select which of your preferred IDE so that when you see a link to a file, it opens in that IDE. So that's pretty straightforward. MCP and Cloud Agents, these are kind of the configuration information for setting up access to Overlord via MCP, which is another feature we're currently working on. The CLI controls, so you can set a default agent, and for each agent, there's a lot of times that you want to run a flag when you launch the agent. In this case, I want to enable auto mode in Claude, so I've written that here and then saved it. And so now every time it runs Claude, it actually runs it with enable auto mode. And then you can do that for the other IDEs that accept flags as well. Here is where we manage the agent plugins. And so when you do onboarding, it will ask you to install the plugins. And then sometimes when we do upgrades to the plugins, it will tell you that these need to be reinstalled, and it'll give you a button for that. You can also remove and reinstall them easily here. And what also is nice is that it will give you access to those files in the Finder, so you can go and review and modify them yourself. And then this is just sort of an overview of the commands that you have for the OVLD CLI. And then this kind of is information letting you know which version of the CLI has been installed with the desktop app. And sometimes when you upgrade the desktop app, it will ask you to reinstall the CLI. There'll just be a button here. Customization, you can add some custom instructions that go with every prompt if there's some part of your custom process, although the system, of course, also respects your claude.md or agents.md file. The feed, so this will show, this shows the number of feed posts it will retain. Application, this is essentially just first, you can turn off and on the ticket titles, the AI generated ticket titles, and set the theme for Overlord. But I like running it in dark. Here's a list of hotkeys that it will use. I like to use EverHour for tracking time, so this is where I can paste the EverHour key and then track time. Here's where you check for updates, and then some basic profile settings. It shows what accounts are linked. And so those are the key settings. Now, within projects, we also have settings. So let's go to Overlord and see. So here's the settings for within the project. Most importantly, I can set the file that I want to use as the working directory, so it knows where to open, where to run the agent. Here's the kind of the configuration we're developing for running that stuff remotely. You can modify the titles of the stages that show on the Kanban board. And then particularly useful, here you can put custom instructions. So for example, this program is an Electron app, a mobile app, a web app. And so because of that, I want to give the feed specific, or the feed generator, the post generator, specific instructions about what to highlight. So you can add some instructions here so that when you review the feed, which we've covered in a different video, you can see highlighted the stuff that's important to you for that project. And so here are some of the parameters that you can mention when you write this. You can mention these parameters and kind of tell it what you want it to, how you want it to fill these parameters when generating a feed post. And then this is syncing the ever hour. This is the syncing integrations essentially, and deleting the project. So those are the primary controls for configuring Overlord to work the way you want it to work.